Hello and welcome to our tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to have a quick look at round tripping from Premiere Pro into DaVinci Resolve in order to do a color grade and then coming back again without having to export your sequence as a single piece of video. Now there's a couple of sort of provisos on this, or if you have there are certain effects and certain filters, if you use them here in Premiere, that won't transfer across using the method we're going to look at. So here we have our simple timeline, and it's just 4 clips and a piece of audio. So I'm going to try and take them out of Premiere, bring them into Resolve, color correct them there very crudely, very quickly, and then come back to Premiere, open it all back up in Premiere. So I'm going to go File, and to export, and I'm going to export a Final Cut Pro XML file, and I'm not going to put it in my LUTs folder. We'll have a look at that in a minute. I'm going to put it in video projects, no, let's not put it there. Let's go in here. There we go. And I'm just going to put this into this folder here. It's called the Big Rip. So I'm going to call this, I can give it a new name, and I'm going to call this so Premiere Pro CC to Resolve 15, because that's what we're doing, and it's in this folder here. So and save. So it doesn't duplicate the media, but it does remember where the media is. So when we open that in Resolve, it should locate our media. So if we quickly just jump into Resolve, so we have no clips in our media pool here. So here I can go File, and then Import Timeline, and go to my XML import here. It's going to ask me where my project is that I want to install. So we just navigate to that folder, and this is the file here. We click Open. And now it's asking us to make sure that our settings are the same. So if we very quickly just jump back into Premiere here and have a quick look. So this is my sequence here. I go to its properties. So we can see that it's 1920 by 1080 and 24 frames a second, 48 kilohertz. So that's there. That's where we're going to go. So let's make sure that this is the same. So it's 24 frames a second, and we're importing this timeline, and we're going to go OK. So what we should notice is that first of all, our pictures are there, and our audio is also here in place. It's just on Audio 3 as it was in Premiere. So we can play this as we would if we were in the in Premiere, and now we could do a very simple and kind of crude color correction if we wanted. So if we add a serial node here, and then let's just add some very basic sort of color correction. So let's desaturate a bit, and then push everything towards sort of what's left, towards orange. Okay, so there's our very basic color correction, and we can so that's on this clip here. This one's not color corrected, so we'll color correct this one. We'll duplicate the color correction from this one. So with this selected, we can go View, Stills, grab Still, and I can go here to my gallery, and I can go back to my previous clip and drag and drop this on here, and we're getting our color correction or color shift. It's not really a correction. And we can do the same here. So we can drag and drop this in, and then we shan't color correct the last clip. We'll just leave that as it is. So when we're finished with our color correction, whatever it is that we want to do, and if you want to look at LUTs and color correction, I'm sure there are plenty of videos you can reference for that. But just how do we get back into Premiere to so we can go back editing our piece. So in here, we're going to so we want to export our project. So we don't export it normally like you would for Adobe Premiere. We have to go to the Deliver tab. And in this, there is a preset for Premiere XML. And in our video here, we're just going to leave it at QuickTime. But any changes that we've made here, so it will render these out as new files. So we get to pick, how we want them rendered out. We're keeping our original resolution. We can see that all of these settings have sort of been retained. Our file and all of the video, etc. here is going to go to the original folder where this came from. So if I go add to render queue here, it's going to say where do you want to place it. So let's put it in that folder. And over we go, and then we're going to press start render. And this process here actually renders out new files, so it's not a destructive process. So the original file that was used in Premiere is what we have here in our timeline. But what we're going to send back, the timeline we open in Premiere, will have completely new files on it. So it's creating new versions of these as we jump back into Premiere. And that means that we can have, we can look at our original footage and look at the color corrected footage and keep them complete. So we can have versions of this if we want. So it's not, we're not being destructive with our original footage. You can also see this is quite a, this is not the fastest computer now in the world, but this is quite a time consuming process. So if you had quite a lot, this is quite a short sequence, but if you had a 10-minute or 20-minute film, that this process of coming in and out of Premiere could take quite a while. Okay, so we will be another 2 minutes doing this. I'm going to let it go all the way to the end so you can see the full sequence. So what will be important in Premiere is that we see, again, that there are individual clips that come back in, so we can go and tweak the edit or replace clips, or so we still have full control over what's on the timeline, as opposed to it coming in as a single clip that we can't go and then add in our crossfades or the other sort of changes that we may not have been able to make. The other thing is the audio will come in stripped of any effects on it, and so you may want to replace the audio that comes back with your original audio. So that's all very possible and simple once you get back into Premiere. So like with all renderings, this is giving me not an accurate remaining time, but we're near there. Be interesting to see. This last clip should go very quickly because we didn't put anything on it. And we're nearly there. And then you can see this one's slightly faster, not massively, than what preceded it because there's no effects on it. So so as soon as it's finished, we'll go straight into Premiere and look at how we import the Premiere XML file and open that up, and basically it's like importing a new timeline. Okay, so nearly there. What I should do is I should edit this tutorial and speed up this bit, but I'm not going to do that. However, it's on YouTube, so you can just flick ahead. And nearly there. Okay. So we are completed. So I'm going to close Resolve. Do I want to save it? No, don't save. And now I'm back in Premiere. So this is our original sequence here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import. It's the same import here. And what I want to import is my XML here that it exported. And what we've got now is we've got these 3 new shots. And a new timeline. So this timeline here is called Opener, and then this one is got the same name, but it's got Resolve after it because that's come from Resolve. So I'm going to double click on this sequence. Double click on it here, and so if I place my timeline there, so you can see that this is desaturated. If we look at the same clip here, you can see it's got far more color in it. And our clips are still intact as standalone pieces, so we can go back in and tweak these if we want in our color corrected sequence. So that's it. It's not a terribly complicated process, but as I said at the beginning, you can't bring a large number of effects into Resolve and back with you. So basically you need to send in a clean timeline, color correct it, and then bring it back.